Hi, people, it's Killer J here.
And this is Draven Pro here.
Yeah, and today we're reviewing WCW versus nWo World Tour.
Yep, this is actually the sequel to WCW versus the World on the PlayStation.
Yes.
This game was originally released on 1997, pretty much like during what I consider the peak of WCW during this time period.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, pretty much in 97, I'd say like 97, 98-ish was the peak of WCW. Well, I mean, it all depends on your opinion, but you know.
I think it's around those both 2 years.
Yeah, I think 98 was probably like, I mean, well, even though like WF was like, you know, starting to catch up in the ratings like in 98, but like, yeah, but in like 97 around this time period, this is when like WCW were just dominant against WF.
Oh, yeah.
So, and this game, like, you know, pretty much came out like, you know, during that time period when like WCW were dominant in the ratings war.
Oh, yes, for sure. And I'm playing at Skull Hall I'm playing at Skull Hall there.
Yeah.
Kind of like a show, like old school gameplay. You have Skull Hall versus Hulk Hogan there.
Yeah.
I want to show this off in this review there.
Yeah. So I've played this game before, like a long time ago when I was a kid. Funny enough, too, speaking of Scott Hall, his finisher in the game, the Razor's Edge, is not like it was in real life.
No.
Because if you actually do the Razor's Edge in the game, he actually does like a sit-down version of it.
Yes.
They actually did fix it in WCW versus Revenge. They actually did fix that one.
Good.
Razor's Edge, you know, which is pretty good. So
that's good.
Yeah, but the roster in the game is pretty decent. It's not a big roster.
No.
You have you know, like about like 22 wrestlers altogether. Like, you know, yeah, including like, you know, the unlockables in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, about like 22 wrestlers in the game for WCW. Like,
oh yeah.
Yeah, like.
You know you have high boost in this game. He's under Hannibal.
Yeah, Hannibal. I think that's I did hear about this guy named Hayabusa. I think I do remember watching that one.
Yeah, he wrestled Raw with Sabu, and the other guy was tagged up with him there.
Yeah, that was in Heatwave '98. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was in Heatwave '98. Really. Yeah. Isn't he dead? Hayabusa.
Yeah. Well, that was a long time ago there.
Yeah, he died. Like, you know, he died, but yeah, he's a playable character in the game actually.
It's pretty cool. He's playable there.
Yeah, he does have a pretty cool moveset in the game actually.
Yeah, very good moveset there. Very was underappreciated, I find.
Yeah, he could have been something, I guess, in the States.
Yeah, he could have been something. Yeah. Could have been something.
I kind of felt like maybe he could have gone to like, I don't know, like ECW or maybe like WCW's cruiserweight division, I guess.
Oh, he would fit in the cruiserweight division for sure.
Yeah, him and I forgot his name again.
The bald guy there, I don't remember his name there.
His name was Shinzei Shizaki.
Yeah, him.
Yeah, he was actually known as Hakushi from the WF back in '95. If you WF
I remember him.
Yeah,
I remember him.
Yeah, back in the New Generation era. So, you know, I mean, but yeah, back to the game itself. Really, I mean, for me personally, I think the game it's a pretty solid game actually. I think really.
Yeah.
You know, like, it doesn't like, for me, like, doesn't hold up too well graphically wise, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's a pretty solid game, I guess, you know, for me, because, you know, this is the game that started, like, you know, it all with, like, you know, the AKI games, like, you know.
Yes. This is one of the better games out there, too. Like, gameplay-wise, it's pretty simple to pick up and play there.
Yeah.
It's not too complex.
Right. You know, like, pretty much, like, with WCW versus, the World, I didn't really play that game too much. I didn't really have a PlayStation back then. I only had like the N64 when I was playing it, but I didn't really own a PlayStation back then.
Yeah.
Aside from just playing it.
I think my brother owned an N64.
My friend's house, yeah. But I did play a little bit of the game early. WCW versus the World. Actually, it's a pretty decent start to the franchise.
Yes.
Yeah, but this game is pretty. I'd say it's pretty good. It's pretty solid, even though the roster was pretty short. I mean, like.
Yeah, but overall, the gameplay was good there.
Yeah, it has a pretty good grappling system, I'd say. Really.
Good grappling system and good striking systems. If you can pick them up a certain way, you can do certain moves too.
Yeah, pretty much. But I think the later AKI games, like, did it better, like, for the football and sequels,
Oh yeah.
After that one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the game itself was pretty good. It holds up pretty well. The gameplay wise, like, you can actually like, you actually have a lot of pretty good stars in the game. You have DDP, you have Hollywood Hogan, you have Six in the game as well too.
Six is X-Pac.
Yeah, Six. Yeah, he's a playable character. Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, the fake Sting. Sting also as well too. You can play as you can play as Ultimo Dragon too. You can play as
Billy Kidman.
No, he's not in the game. He's in the next game.
Okay.
For Revenge. Yes, he's in the next game. That's when Billy Kidman was part of, like, the
Raven's flock.
Yeah. Yeah, Raven's flock. Yeah. Yeah, but the game itself, I think it's pretty solid. I think the only unlockable characters you get in the game is DDP and Macho Man Randy Savage.
The two best characters.
Yeah. So if you actually play through the challenge mode in the game for WCW, you unlock DDP, and if you play the challenge mode through the nWo, you actually unlock Macho Man Randy Savage, who was part of the nWo back in.
Oh yeah, I like
part of the nWo back in '87. Yeah, so
I like Macho Man Randy Savage.
Yeah, it was pretty it was pretty easy to unlock him, I guess. Yeah, all I did was just play through the game. Just play through, like.
Yeah, play through it. Yeah.
Yeah, play through like a few superstars, I guess.
Yes.
I played as Kevin Nash. Yeah, I played as Kevin Nash for
both variables right there.
It was pretty easy to play the game, really. Yeah, it was pretty easy to play the game. I kept, like, knocking out guys with like, the jackknife powerbomb.
There's a duel, the Butcher.
Yeah, I played as my man Sting in the game as well too for WCW.
Lex Luthor.
The game had, oh yeah, and plus two, like for the alternate tires. You get to choose, like, the alternate tires.
Of certain wrestlers.
This came out like around like '97, so this is when Sting had his whole, like, Crow gimmick.
Yeah.
Crow, Sting has, like, 3 different versions, like, 3 different costumes of him as, like, the surfer in the game.
That's cool.
When you get to play as him.
Nice. There's Hayabusa right here. Scott Hall.
Yeah, I was playing as Hayabusa.
I was playing as Scott Hall recently. I played as Scott Hall, because he was what happened to Scott Hall there. So kind of like, that's why I decided to play as Scott Hall in this review there.
Yeah, that's pretty sad.
I know.
Yeah, I heard about Scott Hall. Yeah, I kind of knew it was going to happen someday, of course, because Scott Hall did have his personal demons. It's actually good that he got clean before he died, really. It's better than, him, like, overdosing. It's sucks, really, but, Scott Hall...
It sucks, I know.
He, in my opinion, like, played a huge part in Monday Night Wars. He started the whole, like, war.
Yes.
With, like, with WCW and stuff like that.
And he had good matches, too, in WWF there.
See what?
He had good matches in WWE, or WWF, when you want to call it, whatever you call it.
Yeah, I would argue he had better matches in WWF. He had pretty good matches with Shawn Michaels and, like, Diesel.
Yeah.
Razor Ramon. I think.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Razor Ramon is like what, like a 5-time Intercontinental Champion, I think.
Yeah. He could have won the main belt, and he deserved it there.
It's kind of funny though. I actually heard that that Vince McMahon did plan on like putting the belt on Scott Hall before he left for WCW. I'm not sure how true it is, but but I did hear Scott Hall was originally supposed to face off against like Goldust at WrestleMania 12, but they had to suspend him because of his like drug issues, I believe.
Yeah.
Drug issues, I think. So yeah, that's pretty much why they had to suspend him. And this is like a little bit before he went to WCW when he because Bischoff was offering like more money to Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, so pretty much that's why they went over to.
And that's what. Oh yeah, they had some good wrestling in WCW though.
Yeah, they did. Some pretty good games. I'd say like this game, World Tour and Revenge are the only good WCW games in my opinion.
Oh yeah, the other ones are shit.
Yeah, Mayhem I thought was pretty decent. It's not the worst.
No.
But it's pretty decent, I guess.
Yeah.
The other games were trash. I thought were trash, like Thunder, like Nitro, especially Backstage Assault.
Oh jeez. Don't get me started with that one.
Like EA, like come on.
EA, yeah.
Yeah, EA, what the fuck is that game? Funny enough, too, I actually did hear that there was supposed to be a WCW game. I think it was called Mayhem 2.
Yeah.
Mayhem 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that never happened because, Yeah.
WCW lost in the ratings there. Or WCW got bought up by WWE there.
Yeah, they got purchased by WWE.
WWE seen difference there.
Yeah, so it got canceled.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah, sadly.
Same thing for the
ECW.
The sequel same thing for for the supposed sequel for No Mercy. Apparently there was supposed to be a game called Backlash.
Yeah.
For No Mercy, but that game got canceled.
Damn.
Because the N64 was dead by that point in time, so they had to move on to the GameCube.
Yeah.
So
PS2 and Xbox.
Yeah, the GameCube, Xbox, whatever, Funny enough, too, I actually heard the game was for Backlash. I did hear that game was 30% finished.
Yeah.
I heard, and I did hear in a GamePro magazine, they did have screenshots of the actual game.
They look good for an N64 game or what? Like screenshots. Yep. Alright. So there's Draven. What happened? Fell asleep or what? Alright. For my rating of WCW versus NWo World Tour, I give it a 10 out of 10. It's a very good WCW game. Just for nostalgia.
Yeah, I kind of lost connection for a bit there.
Okay.
Sorry, so... I kind of got lost for a second there. But yeah, as for for the game World Tour, it's a pretty good game. You got some pretty good stars in the game. You have the Giant. Back when Big Show was
irrelevant.
Yeah, more more athletic, more popular back then in WCW, in my opinion. Than he was in WWF.
Yeah.
You had some pretty good stars in there too. Like I said, the Crowston, you had Hollywood Hogan, you had Scott Hall, you had Kevin Nash in the game. This game came out during the time when WCW was dominant, in the ratings war.
Yeah.
This game it's a pretty solid game. I'd say I would say it's not. The game is not as replayable as Revenge for me, but it's a pretty good game still.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I recommend it for historic reasons. If you're an old school wrestling fan, you're
N64 fan too.
Yeah, you're gonna love it really. So it does. Oh yeah, and plus the game has a pretty good. Yeah, plus the game has a pretty good soundtrack too, as well too.
Oh yeah, it does. I like the one that intro when you start the game there.
Yeah, one of the